America, just hours away from the second presidential inauguration of Donald Trump. A lot of fallout from that. As a result, for example, the legendary Scottish actor, Brian Cox, is with us now, has vowed personally to spend less time in the United States.
But fortunately, Brian's busy on stage over here. First, for his sold-out show, An Evening with Brian Cox, and for his new play, The Score. Of course, you may know him for his award-winning portrait of Logan Roy in the hit series Succession. Brian joins us now. The irony, Brian, is that Logan Roy is like Trump.
I'm afraid so. You know, I think there are something like, he's got 10 billionaires in his cabinet. And I just shows you the gap between society and an oligarchy, which is what Biden warned us about the other week in his finishing address, really. So it's not a good time.
Well, I guess it's a case of hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Well,
so hoping for the best.
Yeah, hope for the best.
What might be some of the good points in your view? I'm trying hard here. Of a Trump.
So am I. I'm trying hard. The good points. There are none.
Okay.
There are very few. I'm sure there are some.
Why do you think they voted for him then, and by a very clear majority?
Who knows? It's so divided now, America. It is so divided. And it's surprising, you know. I mean, I think of poor Bobby De Niro, you know, who's been beating that tambourine really strongly and very much anti-Trump. And I have great support for that. But it's crazy, really. But the thing that worries me more than anything else is how women are being treated, how the women are being marginalized in America. And we've seen it with the defeat of Hillary. We've certainly seen it with the defeat of Kamala. Mm-hmm. And that has really made a problem. You know, where do women fit in that society? And women are fighting for their own rights, you know, the whole abortion issue. So I just feel very strongly that there's a sort of strong anti-feminist thing going on.
But women voted for him.
Well, they do.
In their millions.
I know, and that's the problem. They don't realise. I mean, it's the lack of awareness that baffles me. The lack of awareness of this man who is a convicted criminal, who is a liar, who is a known liar, has been trusted as the President of the United States.
Isn't it?
It doesn't make any sense.
Brian, isn't it partly two fingers to the political establishment that actually across the Western world
I think that's
real disillusion with professional politicians? We're sick of them.
I think you're right, Richard. I think it is a disillusionment, but it's very hard for the disillusion to kind of make their point, you know. And it's not just that, but that's a major aspect of it. You know, I agree with you. You know.
How much of your time and your life is invested in America?
Well, quite a lot of it. I have two sons who are there, and you know, the one's at university. They love it. They love the country, and of course, there is so much to be loved about America. You know, it's not anti-America. I don't believe in any of that. Why I went to America was I was a great believer in egalitarianism. And America is, in essence, an egalitarian society. So there are very strong aspects to America and really worthwhile aspects of America to preserve. And there are a lot of good people there as well. You know, it's not all doom and gloom, but it's a very sad time. And the other thing which gets me is what's been happening in Los Angeles. And the idea that he can say there's no such thing as climate change. Come on, what are we seeing? What are we seeing?
What happened in Los Angeles in the wildfires is an utter tragedy.
It's terrible.
But isn't there also, like, a terrible failure by the authorities there?
Well, I don't know what's going on. I mean, you've got the whole Pacific Ocean, and nobody kind of seems to get hold of that, you know, to help put the fire.
Have friends of yours been affected?
Oh, yeah. I know. Well, Tony Hopkins lost his house.
Yes, you're good friends with him.
Yeah, and people like Billy Crystal, who lived there for 49 years, you know. And it's not just their home, it's everything else. It's the whole history that they up to this present moment that they've lost. It's really tragic. It's really, really tragic, you know. A great friend of mine, Bob Egan, had a house in the Palisades. And I've been to that house on several occasions, and that's all gone.
Do you think, because, of course, they've been discussing whether the Oscars ceremony can go ahead at the beginning of March against a backdrop of so many of the people who would be involved in the ceremony having lost so much.
That's going to be hard.
But also having a red carpet event with people sort of wearing their finest against what's happened is they're going to have to really rethink how they run it, aren't they?
I think you're absolutely right, Susanna. I think they've got to find a new way to really... I mean, it's up to our profession to honour the truth of what's going on. And I think that's one thing that we could do during the Oscars, is to actually put some kind of hidden protest in who we are and what we're against and why global warming is a major issue that he doesn't believe in. He simply doesn't believe in it. And therefore he's, you know...
So what can we expect from an evening with Brian Cox in it? It's a sellout, although
well,
I know that...
I'll be able to talk in a way I can't talk
but...
on national television. That's the big advantage.
But is it question and answer? I mean, how does it...
Well, I don't know. It depends on the evening. It probably will be. I mean, I do like question and answer. I mean, I'm happy to do a talk, but I do like to engage with the audience.
So that's this Sunday at the Delaunay in the centre of town, an audience with Brian Cox. As we say, it's sold out.
Yeah.
So, but there's a huge long waiting list,
apparently, yeah,
just in case people drop out. But then you are not playing Brian Cox. You're going to be playing a genius in the play The Score.
Oh yes.
At the Theatre Royal Haymarket, which begins next month on the 20th of February. Right. Tell us about this.
Well, this is a wonderful play. That's my wife, by the way.
Your wife playing your wife?
Yeah, my wife plays my wife. She's excellent too. No, I've actually played Bach. I played Bach many years ago on television for the BBC, and I thought it was one of the most boring parts I'd ever played. I thought, what's about Bach? He's not very interesting, is he? But my friend Oliver Cotton, who wrote this play, has made a really interesting story. And it's really about Bach's... We forget that Bach wrote a lot of his music during war-torn times, you know, when Frederick the Great was, you know, he was creating hell everywhere he went, and particularly in Silesia, and he's on his way back. His troops are on their way back, so they stop in the town of Leipzig, where Bach lives, and he works. He does his music. And what happened was that there's a girl, a blind girl, who's raped by the troops that are there on their way back from Silesia, on their way back to... And there's a difference between Prussians and, you know, the different areas of Germany, you know. And what happens is that Frederick invites Bach to join him, because he's always collecting composers, so he wants Bach to come to Potsdam. And Bach goes, not to see Frederick, but actually ostensibly to his son and his granddaughters. His son is one of the collected composers, Karl Bach. And he realizes that in the course of the play, he finds out something, that there's a theme that Frederick has in a dream, and he asks all his composers to improvise on this theme. None of them can, except Bach, and this is absolutely true. Yes. And Bach discovers something about his personality, something that's hidden in his personality. And Frederick was brutalized. He was ridiculously brutalized by his father. And also, well, it was really tragic because he was gay. He ran away with a fellow officer. He was captured, brought back, put in a cell, and his lover was executed in front of him.
My goodness.
So
well, I'm going to stop you there, right? Because I feel like otherwise you're going to give away the entire play.
That's just the background.
That's just the background, right?
Well, it's not boring.
Hopefully it's not boring.
No. But it's interesting because it sounds very political. And
it is
of course,
very political.
You are a very political actor.
Well, I never... See, this is the thing. I wasn't interested in politics. But unfortunately, you cannot be interested in politics.
So true, especially today. But it's wonderful to see you on such a historic day.
Oh, God, yeah.
We will wait to see what it holds.
Well, we know what's going to happen. It's a foregone conclusion. But what I'm dreading is the next 4 years. That's what I'm dreading. And I'm dreading it for many reasons. But also the idea that Canada would become the 51st state.
I don't think that's...
No, it's all preposterous. That's the thing. I mean, I can't see that people can't see how preposterous it is to
he does shoot from
make the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. I mean, anyway, don't
all right.
It's an incredible drama, and it's happening in the White House. And you can see Brian Cox at the Delaunay on Sunday or at the Theatre Royal Haymarket from the 20th of February. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Great to see you.
I hope I didn't destroy my career by that.
I don't think you
could have gone a lot further.
No.